Commission Chair, request the team from the strategic management led by DDG Ndlovu to introduce themselves and then do the presentation by the chairperson of the PPC. Thank you so much. Marti.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Ms. Mzoneli. My name is Marti Milne from the Office of the Premier, responsible for provincial planning and policy coordination. Also supporting the Provincial Planning Commission together with my colleagues as the Secretariat. So we have been joined by Ms. Ashika Singh, who helps us with departmental planning. Dawn Dawning, who helps us also with the provincial planning and the commission. Dr. Ndlovu is in the meeting, but she is also attending to a couple of other issues at the same time, so I have stepped in temporarily. She is the head of the planning secretariat, and we are then also humbled to be joined by our commissioner and chairperson of the Provincial Planning Commission, Mr. Mzimkhulu Msiwa, who will be doing the presentation for us, facilitated by the Secretariat team. Chair, with your permission, if we can request in the interest of time for Mr. Msiwa as our chairperson to then lead us through the presentation for today.
OTP, the stage is yours. We will be led by the chairperson from the OTP from now on. We are waiting for your colleagues.
Greetings, esteemed audience. As indicated, my name is Mzimkhulu Msiwa. I'm the chairperson of the KZN Provincial Planning Commission. I will assume that all protocol is observed in the interest of time, given that you've got such a congested schedule. I will then move straight on to actually present a review of the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy. And of course, this is a strategy that's meant to actually activate and promote the growth of the province for the benefit of all the communities in the province. I will try and go as fast, Chairperson, as I can. Don, you will put in sort of the next slide. The outline of just the work that we have done in reviewing the strategy. The strategy is reviewed every 5 years. The first strategy was adopted in 2012, and it was then reviewed in 2016. We are now reviewing that strategy, and we're now on the third review of the strategy. We will maybe just share with the audience issues that have guided the review work that we're presenting to you. We will also share with you the progress that we've made this far. We will also indicate policy documents that have informed our work. And as already indicated, the PGDS is really work that is meant to benefit the communities and improve the livelihoods of the communities in KZN. In reviewing the PGD, in the review work that we have done, we have taken to account things that work and things that haven't worked in the past strategies. We've also taken into account Lekgotla resolutions. We have taken, most importantly, the work that was done on the review of the past strategy from 2014 to 2019. And as you will realize, colleagues, that in planning, you make some assumptions, and some of those assumptions don't turn out not to materialize. And that's why the review is important. We have also now taken, in going forward in the strategy, the new medium-term strategic framework 2019-2024, the National Development Plan, the national priorities, and the provincial priorities. We've also had a look at the 25-year review of where government is, and also taken some key lessons in terms of what has emerged from those reports. We've also undertaken a socio-economic outlook of the province through our situational analysis, and this is the work that we have also presented both to the Provincial Executive Council and the past stakeholders. Yeah, move on, John. The approach that we are now adopting is the approach that is coming in from the Office of the Presidency, which is the focus now more on an outcome-based approach and also on the impacts. In other words, the work that we are suggesting that be undertaken, what changes do we want to see arising out of that? What is it that we will show as achievements, which is outcomes, to actually drive the impacts? What will the outputs that will support the outcomes, and what will be the activities that are naturally supportive of the outputs, and naturally resources, what inputs and resources that are needed to actually take us. The planning tool that we've used in driving the outcome-based approach is based on the theory of change, and it deals, maybe just in summary, about what we propose needs to be implemented. It proposes on how those issues will be implemented, and more specifically where. And I think the where component dovetails in with the audience of Zululand, where we are now. We would want a strong contribution on the interventions that are really needed in Zululand to actually complete the spatial development framework based on the competitive advantages and on the situation and the burning issues that are facing Zululand District Municipality. That we would request that the comments around that area become very strongly to the Commission so that we're able to introduce those into the document. This slide is what we call the table of contents of the document. The document is in about 7 chapters. First chapter deals naturally with the policy context and the introduction. The second chapter will deal, which will actually sort of be addressed with the situational analysis. And of course, then the third portion will deal with the areas of intervention that are actually suggested. So if you look at the high-level strategic analysis or situational analysis in chapter 2, we have adopted the sustainability approach, sustainability approach in actually sort of dealing with these issues, because we've found that that approach is all-encompassing. It deals with all the areas that form the basis of strengthening the social foundation of the communities that we are living in, and also creating a much more sustainable sort of environment. I'm not going to go into detail because those actually are highlighted in the document that we're presenting to you. We then go to chapter number 3, where, of course, we start to articulate the vision statement, and we also then start to dig deep. And this is where now the differentiation is coming in, to show that this is actually a KZN-based strategy. These are the provincial priorities, 7 of them, that are actually driving and are core to the work that we're presenting today. These this is where we would really like to get some deep interrogation and discussion as to whether these are the initiatives that might be coming here are the right ones that will solve the triple challenge of poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. We then move on to chapter number 4 of the document. Chapter number 4 of the document, maybe John, if you can just put that chapter 4. Chapter 4 of the document naturally then deals with the special development framework. In other words, the work part, where will all these interventions, where are they envisaged? And this is an area, again, of great importance to the district, that we would like to hear the voice of the district, because this is actually where most of these interventions and the how part of them naturally that can be modified. We then move to chapter 5 of the document. Chapter 5 of the document actually sets up what we call the catalytic projects. Catalytic projects are projects that are game changers. Now, what is important also in the case of KZN, of Zululand District Municipality, is to ensure that what Zululand considers to be game changer projects are also brought in terms of this charter. And a catalytic project and game changer projects are projects that have got a ripple effect. You do one project and it addresses a multiple of challenges. So we would want to request and solicit a thorough review of the work that we've presented. We then go to chapter 6 of the strategy. Chapter 6 of the strategy deals with the institutional framework for the implementation. And I think, as we will all agree, the greatest challenge that we face in terms of all the policies that we design is the issue of implementation. It is going to be the focus of the Commission and the Office of the Premier to actually dig and dovetail deeper into implementation and implementation. The chapter 6 then also deals again the institutional arrangements. And chapter 7, which is the key chapter for us as the Commission, is the monitoring and evaluation. We have got set up in the Office of the Premier a facility called the NAV Center, which is going to be the repository of all data on the progress. And in order to be able to successfully show that we are really breaking new ground, it will be because our monitoring and evaluation is up to. And we are not going to monitor activities. Our monitoring will be focused at outputs and outcomes. We will do a periodic review of the work 2.5 years to see whether the outcomes are still moving in the right direction. We will do annual reviews of outputs to indicate whether these outputs are really taking us to the outcomes that we're envisaging. So in a nutshell, this is what you would see in the document. I'm not going to spend time to say in detail what you'll find in the chapter, because if we do that, that is going to take us too long. We would naturally want to share the vision that has emerged, and it's an emerging vision, and we would want to get a view as to whether this is really the aspirational position that we all agree that the province should actually try and attain. Again, this is a statement that's actually also due and very critical for comment, because it is about tomorrow today, so to say. I will not spend time into the chapters that follow, which are in the presentation, and I think the presentation will be shared. Gordon, can you just go to the next few slides? I'm not going to spend time here because it just goes straight into the content of each and every chapter. But the slide that is going to be important is this one on chapter 3, where just go back to the slide that was jotted on, the one that has got 7 areas, the 7 circles. Yes, we do believe that these are the most sort of critical areas that are contained in the document. And priority number 1, naturally, is to try and build the capacity of the state to actually deliver on the promise. Because without building this capacity, all what we have in this document is just going to be nice reading. So there's a strong emphasis on actually building the capacity and the capability of the state to actually prosecute and the areas of economic transformation and job creation, the areas of education and skills and health, the areas of consolidating the social wage through the reliable services. And I must just say and stray from my presentation to say the key challenges in Zululand, more especially around water, you are going to find that there is a very important chapter there which actually identifies key critical community supporting dams, given the water challenges that were actually discussed, that the issue of always relying on groundwater should be strengthened by the provision of dams that can support on a sustainable basis. That work is the groundbreaking work in the country, and I think Zululand, if you look at that chapter and in your water services development plan, you actually start to plan around the location of those dams, which strategically are supporting Zigodi in particular. I think it will actually bring value when we could get to the implementation. The capable state will be able then to deliver on special integration, human settlement, and on local government, and issues on social cohesion and the safety of the communities and a better Africa and the world. These are sort of the areas of convergence in this document. These are the areas that we earnestly say bring along we have in the document given what we consider to be the best options, and we would like those options to be interrogated through this consultation process and later on, not necessarily perhaps today, because you are interacting with the presentation and the document only now. Let's move on then. I will not again dwell into this because this is actually in the document. It's just trying to tease it at a micro level, specific issues that are coming in. And as you'll see in this other one, that's what we're talking about. In the KZN, we've moved to actually look at the rivers that flow past communities, and there are no dams in those rivers. And we've, through some deep analysis, identified 374 dams in the country, and because of the crisis that we always face with water. The issues that are of concern to us in the document, because when we look at our document, we felt that there are areas that can be enhanced and enriched through the consultation process. Don, can you just go back to that slide? And these are the areas that are indicated in yellow in the previous slide to this one. And we implore and request that those areas be strengthened by the inputs that are coming in. The issues around rural agriculture and agricultural reform. And I think our view as the Commission is that unless we bring in as many people to be in a position of actually buying money means to say producing to sell, and also getting sort of markets to work for those communities, we were going to still get most of our people being in the process of selling money, taking grants just to buy, but no development taking place. So these are some of the areas that are coming in. Issues of gender-based violence are also coming in, and also the issues naturally internally to us is to actually sharpen the targets that will indicate proper progress in the delivery of the strategy. We can move on, Don. We can move on, Don. As I've indicated, I think I've already in the outline of the document spoken to the slide, which is about the spatial development component of the plan. So I'm not going to dwell on much on that because I've already spoken to that. This perhaps just to say, we are now at a stage where we are doing a consultation. We have produced a draft document. We have submitted it to our principal. Naturally, we were set up to be an advisory structure to the Premier and to the Provincial Executive Council. We have presented our first initial draft and we got an endorsement that we say, take out this document for consultation. And that is the process that we're now involved with up to the 28th of February. We will be receiving sort of those inputs and then put up the draft, which will then go back again to the Premier and the Provincial Executive Council for adoption by March. After which then this provincial growth and development strategy will form the basis of naturally the provincial growth and development plans. And most importantly, that work will flow into the district development model. And I think what again emphasizes the importance of the line of sight in terms of these plans, that these plans must not be confusing, they must all converge. So at the end of the day, they will converge with what the district development plans, the IDPs and everything, so that there is no confusion at the implementation on the cold face. I think that is as far as I will take the presentation. Naturally, there are just two slides that are coming up. On that, the one indicates our website, and it also indicates linkages, that document linkages, and it also emphasizes where you can actually source this document to read it properly. It also tells you where you can send your comments, your inputs, and we're really looking forward with keen interest to actually get your input in terms of this. I then conclude by thanking you on behalf of the Commission, of which I'm only one member, and on behalf of the able support that I'm getting from the Secretariat and the support that I'm getting from the Premier's office. More especially, I'm saying our DDG Ndlovu and the DG in actually preparing and presenting this work. And thank you again very, very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much, colleagues, for such informative presentation. Thank you very much, Babu Msiwa. We have a pleasure once more as Zululand to on this consultation and get some details of it. Definitely, as much when I go down and look the whole flesh, but we have been able to get part of it. But colleagues, can I allow you just to comment, suggest? You will receive the presentation and you will be required to make suggestions and comments back. But can I allow the House to have some comments by the show of hands? Ngiyazi ukuthi uyedwa kuphela umuntu for a problem of hand umkhwanazi. Kodwa bengizomuzwa every coming. Colleagues, the presentation has been tabled before us as Zululand. Do we have any comments?
Chairperson.
Zogovu, the floor is yours.
And Chairperson in corner now.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Zogovu, ngiyacela umkhwanazi to comment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Salo, and thank you very much, Baba Msiwa. We welcome the presentation, and I think in the presenter, it is for the first time for us to see born. So, once after receiving the presentation, we will deeply engage with it and make the necessary inputs. Mine was to say thank you very much. Baba's consultant consider us as Zululand like usushilo sihlalo bese kuthi nje kungabe sekuthuleka uma ngabe uvula opportunity but umuntu ke once seyibuke kahle presentation isikhathi sikhona sanele will make the necessary input and our relay ngama channels that are correct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Babu Umosiwa. Thank you very much for the presentation. Chair, I will comment as one of the managers who's supporting Zululand and looking at the presentation that has been done in terms of reviewing of the PGDS of the province. I will request us as a district to look at our IDPs in terms of the linkages to the PGDP. Looking at our IDP and our ward-based plan in terms of what does it says. And while this document is currently being reviewed, to see to it that what is our current document are saying in relation to that particular provincial document. It will definitely assist us. I understand that looking at the real issues on the ground, we might not be having all the wards with the ward-based plans to be having to inform us. Currently, we are having the DDM that is currently being rolled out in the province, which talks about one plan, one budget. So I think that will also talk loud in terms of how is it doing the IDP, how is Nongoma IDP, Pongola IDP, Abakulus IDP, Ulundi IDP talks to the Zululand district IDP, and how does that Zululand IDP talks to the provincial strategy in terms of the development. Chairperson, I will say at this level, let us welcome the presentation and let us digest it and look at our current situation in terms of how do we want to see the province moving forward, as it says, moving KZN growth KZN together. As Zululand, I will suggest that let's also do as such to ensure that we talk to a situation as what it took to take us into the ward level to say, lendo khulunywa ngawo masikhulunywa nge-PGDP, PGDS, yini kahle mawusufika ewadini mawusufika at a district level, at a local level, so that at least we will all understand in the same level. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much, colleagues, for welcoming the presentation and the comments that have been made. We thank once more again for engaging on this provincial growth and development strategy review. And definitely, colleagues, as soon as we have read it, we had to make sure that we send back the comments so that as Zululand will know what exactly we need, what exactly is expected on us. Colleagues, allow me just to proceed with the meeting. See at item number 10, colleagues, way forward. Colleagues, on our way forward today, one,